going. So that's where it's at. So whatever this challenge is done in 50 days, we're going to come up with another challenge. Maybe it's jumping rope or something. I don't know. Maybe it's skipping for 2 hours. Who knows? Anyways,
you won't have to wash your hands as much.
I know, right? That is like, look what I got in my hand. I'm all doing this, and I'm in my own office. I'm like, I'm so crazy, OCD. It's insane. I have wipes for the wipes. I have a wipe to wipe my hand for wiping a wipe. I'm weird. Who knows? All right. I have bigger problems. Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Happy Tuesday. We have an amazing guest today. We're super excited. And I personally have never heard of Ken myself. Ken, John Jennings is in the office over here. I'm like, John, your boy Ken's here. We're going to meet. He's like, oh, man, I'm going to miss that meeting. I'm like, yeah. So Johnny's off running her miles an hour. But Johnny, I think, was the one who sponsored you here at EXP, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Sure
That's
was.
Awesome. So anyways, yeah, I actually work out with him too, and he's on my 500 push-up challenge. He says, we need to get Ken on this challenge. I'm like, yeah, we need to get Ken on this challenge too, man.
500 push-ups in a month. I can do that.
Hey, see, there we go. I love it. We work gradually towards that. Yeah, what are you drinking there, Ashley? What are you making this? Is that like a smoothie or something? What we got going on over there? That looks delicious. All right. I'm mad at that. Tell me something good. What's happening, everybody? Tell me something exciting and new. Somebody has something good going on. I know they do. Got to share it. Something exciting. Jill's eating breakfast there. I love it, Jill. All right. Don't be shy. And there's nothing's bad, nothing's wrong. So it's something good. Anything happen in your life. Ron, go for it, buddy. What's up, Ronnie? Let's see. Lona, just speak out. Go for it. Unmute and go for it. Just shout it out.
All right. So you guys may or may not know that our area got like demolished by a major hurricane last September. Yes. And we made lemonade out of lemons.
Yeah, love it. Love it.
Because we bought a flooded property and we totally gutted it down to the studs and renovated it. And we just closed on that thing last week and sold it for full price.
Oh, dude, congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Is that the pictures and the videos that Doug was showing a while back of that house?
We have a YouTube video that I'll share with you showing like when we took it over and how wrecked it was, and then throughout the process of us transforming it and what it ended up as. And it's pretty cool.
I love it.
I'll send it to you.
Good. Absolutely. And I'll post on just post it on the Team Green or post it on the Facebook page. That'd be awesome. We all want to see it.
Okay.
I would love to see that. That's amazing. Something positive that come out of that. And you guys are doing great too, which is even more positive. So we're excited that you guys are back safe and are building yourself back, and you bought a flip up on top of it. So good job.
Yeah.
Woo! I love it. Awesome. That's great news. Anybody else?
I got something I'm excited about.
Go for it. What do you got?
Well, I'm like 2.5 weeks away from hitting Icon.
Yes.
So I've got enough escrows in there to do it. I just hope they all close.
Hey, you know what? That's a great thing. You know why? You watching our stock lately? You guys all excited about our stock? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
It was up. It was at $19, I think, yesterday.
Well, it was 21. We're gonna hit another trend here. You're gonna watch. Just watch it. This is what happened to us when it hit $160 a share at one point. Y'all know what that was like. This is exciting news. Your company value is rising as we speak. That's exciting. Yeah. You should be excited. Congratulations, Cindy. Take advantage of that. Rock star. I love it. Anybody else? Something good? Exciting? New?
We're looking at, me and my partner are looking at starting an app for investors like Zillow and Robinhood, similar, where everyone puts their investments onto the app, and then you can click on it and you can invest just right there internally in the app, and has all of the details there, just like as easy as, you know, buying something on Robinhood. So by the end of the year, that might be launched.
That's awesome. Good job.
Yeah. It'll be a great platform for us when we have like investors or, you know, small fix or flip deals or major syndication deals. You can just put it onto the app and then give a value add to your clients or help them sell it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it brings some community together too. That's great marketing. Good job. And who's building the app out for you guys, by the way? Like somebody, like you hiring somebody to build the app out?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Great way of thinking outside the box. That's awesome.
Smart
idea.
People are doing that part.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So again, anybody else? What's up, Jill Lutz? I love it. So hope everybody's enjoying the book of the month, by the way. Ed Milet, The Power of One More. I'm like almost down to my last chapter. I can't put the book down. It's a great read. If you guys haven't read it yet, The Power of One More, get it. It's amazing. I'll be done obviously way before the end of the month, but I'm telling you, it's a great read. It's great. And it's kind of stuff that you probably have heard before, but it's great and a new way of looking at it from his perspective. And for those of you who went to the shareholders, you saw him on stage. He was remarkable. So yeah, the book is even more remarkable. I'd say it's a great place to absorb some of that. Secondly,
I agree.
we're having the Krista Mayshore. If you guys, she was on last week, but she is the top 1% on the digital marketing space. That free course, I put the ticket to join in there. Use that. I've been calling people all week that I've been talking to that I'm recruiting and inviting them, and they're like blown away, like, whoa, wait, 3 days for free? I'm like, yeah, I got you. 3 days for free. You gotta pay thousands of dollars a month to see Krista Mayshore. I got you for free. And they're like, oh my gosh, thank you for being so nice. Oh, yeah. So this is a great value add to agents right now. I'm telling you right now, everybody I'm calling, I'm signing them up for this free thing and utilizing that opportunity. So use the Krista Mayshore free ticket to add to value to people, man, right now. I'm telling you. And then you show up. So it's amazing. Awesome. All right. Well, moving forward, we are going to, go, Ronnie, you got something? Go for it.
Well, one, I just wanted to amplify what you said about that book. And I know you're not at the end yet, but I went through it on an audiobook, and the last chapter made me cry. So
I love it.
It's a very moving book. And I was thinking, as you were talking about Krista, my coach, Sean, does a traction mastermind on Wednesday. And he had Mike Sherrard on a couple of weeks ago. And I'm just going to post that link in the chat because he's also someone that's crazy good with social media. I think he said at the mastermind, he's now sponsored 230 agents to his front line. And he's got over 2,000 in his group. So he's killing it. And, you know, he, of course, I think at that level, you can afford to be brash like that. But, you know, he tells everyone he gets on a call with, I'm not following up with you. You know, I have no interest in following up. You're in or you're not. So I'll put that link in the chat.
I love it. And there's nothing wrong. You're right. When you get to a certain level, it's okay with kind of being transparent with that. And yes, he's great in that space. Great in that space. The digital marketing space is where it's at. And, you know, the funnels, the marketing pieces, that's a great way to get the added exposure where you're being marketed 24/7, 365, automated, and people are seeing you all day long. So where it's at. If you can't figure that out yet, man, you better get on that wagon. So yeah, Sherrard's amazing at it too. Everybody you can plug into has a great opportunities to share with you. So thanks for turning out, Ronnie. Appreciate it. So let's move on to our special guest, but I'm going to hand this over to Eric Magnuson because Jill and Eric, thank you so much for putting this together with us and getting coordinated with Ken. But I'm going to let Eric, you take it away, my friend, since you're not wearing your San Diego hat today. Well, we're going to let you have this, but buddy, go for it.
Brush my hair today. Yeah, everyone. So I'm super excited. Ken, thanks for coming. Just a quick intro. Ken, he's a CEO of a company called Growth Stack Drive. Look him up on the internet, growthstackdrive.com. Over the last 25 years, Ken has been a pastor. He's a top producing mortgage broker. He's a top producing real estate broker. He has a team, Ken Joslin team out in the Southeast Atlanta area. He's brokered by EXP as well. He's been coaching people for 25 years. You know, and I met Ken August of last year at Build. And seriously, over the course of that time, he's changed Jill in my life. We've just working with him. The guy's just an amazing guy. I'm really excited to have him talk with you guys. Ken.
What's
How's
up?
it going, man?
What's up, fam? Good to see you, Eric, Jill. What's going on, guys? Chris, thanks, man. Honored to be here. I would love to. I know I can't see a ton of people. I know there's a lot of people on that I can't see. I'd love to hear from you guys before we get started. If you had one area or one thing in your life right now. So let me a little bit more about what we do. I've been in real estate off and on for the past 30 years, about half of that in full-time vocational ministry, pastoring churches, planting churches. The other half in real estate, top producing mortgage broker in Georgia from 01 till the world ended in about 08. For those of you guys that were in the real estate business, I was the #1 wholesale broker, SunTrust Countrywide, 4 years in a row. And we were just blowing and going back in the day we used to be able to print money, doing mortgages back in the mid 2000s. And then the world ended, right? And then when I already was transitioning back into full-time vocational ministry, planted a church, grew it to several hundred people, and then moved to Birmingham in 2018, when I found out my daughter had epilepsy. She was in school here in Birmingham, and was like, okay, what am I going to do? And I was doing some real estate, and I went back from then. I went from mortgage side just to the real estate side. 2019, 2020, I finished 7th out of 3,725 agents at one of the fastest growing companies in the state of Georgia at the time, and was in the process. I was about 65% of the way through getting my broker's license. I was going to be a broker in Alabama, and it's reciprocal for Georgia and about 3 or 4 of the states around. So I was just going to become a broker again. And man, John Jennings grabbed me one day. I was dating a very amazing woman in Santa Rosa, California. And he goes, hey, dude, can you come over to Napa and meet with me and my friend Brent Gove? How many of you guys know Brent? Give me a thumbs up.
Hey.
You know Brent?
Yeah.
Brent is one of my favorite people in the world and one of my best friends. And I said, sure, man, I'd love to come over to Napa and meet Brent. And Brent did what I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen him do. He shared with me the model, explained. Actually, he did it live. I didn't get the version that a lot of you guys get. And then he did this. He goes, let me tell you about rev share. And he said, here's my rev share. And he showed me. Now, he didn't have 49. And I literally just started my rev share about, I don't know, 9 months ago. And this month I've got $2,043 coming. Next month already it's $2,900 coming, and I have 49 agents. And I saw this, and I think at the time Brent was at about 564 grand was what his said for the month. How many of you guys know I said sign me up on the spot, like right now? Like I literally canceled. I was going through the University of Alabama taking my hours or whatever I had to have my broker's license for Alabama, and I just stopped. I literally went on and canceled the whole thing on the spot. I said, sign me up for EXP right now. And literally at that time, I had already kind of started GSD. I had met a dude. You might know who Grant Cardone is. Give me a thumbs up. You might know Grant. So I met John Jennings. I was one of Grant's top licensees. Grant's been a mentor and a friend now for 3 years. I've spoken for Grant several times. And for some reason, people tell me I sound a lot like him, and I've got about the same kind of energy. And I tell people all the time, listen, I'm a way better looking and taller version than Grant. Grant's about 5'5". He's a little bitty dude, right? And I met Grant and signed up to be a licensee. I had made, I don't know, I was bored to death in October of 2019 when I met him at a boot camp in Miami. I think I'd made about, I don't know, 10, 12 grand a month. I was making about 140 grand a year, working about 10 to 15 hours a week doing real estate. I was bored. I was doing college baseball. I was refereeing college basketball. And I was just kind of like, what am I doing? And I met Grant the last 6 weeks of 2019. I made $129,000 in real estate. Literally finished the year at almost 300K is what I made that year. Became a licensee. I started GSD, which is a coaching and consulting brand. We literally have one of the top faith-based I guess masterminds and conferences. You guys were talking about Ed Milet. Ed's a personal friend of mine. I just had him at my conference in Atlanta, my Create conference. We do the #1 entrepreneur conference in the South in Atlanta in January. My good friend John Maxwell, I've been friends with for 20 years. Ed Milet. I know Eric and Jill were there. Guys like Gary Brecka, who's partners with Grant Cardone at 10X Health Systems, is a top biohacker in the world. Brent Gove, my man Brent, speaks every time for me. This year in Dallas, we're going to be in Dallas with Brenda Bouchard, Erwin McManus, John Gordon, Catherine Gordon, Brent and Kathy will be there again. Just some amazing, amazing human beings and friends as we really focus on what we call our core 5, which is faith, health, relationship, business, and finance. And we really go in that order. And I tell people all the time, if you can get your faith component, the faith component of your life, your health and your finances down, and you can get those in alignment, let me tell you, the business and the finances literally are almost organic. I'm going to show you guys a little picture right here. And I'm going to get it. When I do this, I spoke at the EXP regional. Actually, I spoke at shareholders as well. And I spoke at the EXP regional. Actually, when I did this in front of Valdez in Detroit at the regional, and I showed my picture. So here's my before and after picture for you guys. You see that right there? Yeah, that's 82 pounds. And when people see that, they gasp. In Detroit, about 350, 400 agents, they were like, oh, they couldn't believe it. And Michael was like, dude, you need to come to shareholders and you need to lead the health habits of high performers or whatever Q&A session panel it was. And so I did that for Michael. So really that's what I do. That's what I get to do. A couple of things I want to share with you guys. I get to hang around some amazing human beings. I really do. I have some of the best friends in the world. I have a text thread right here. There's 6 guys on it. Several of I just mentioned. We text back and forth all day long. One of the guys on that text thread is Brent Gove. Everybody knows Brent. I talked to Brent day before yesterday. Him and Kathy called me in Puerto Rico just to tell me they were going out to dinner and they missed me. And I'm like, dude, you're in Puerto Rico. They're showing me. They're actually sitting outside. If you've been to Brent's condo in Puerto Rico, they're sitting outside they live next to Shelly, and they're outside on the deck. And they're like, yeah, we're going to dinner. We just want to give you a call and tell you we loved you. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to talk to you. You're in Puerto Rico. I'm not down there. I'm in Birmingham, Alabama. How exciting is that, right? But I got Brent Gove on that text thread. I've got Gary Brecka, one of the top biohackers in the world. My good friend Brian Covey, who is the senior vice president for Revolution Mortgage, about a $5 billion a year company. My best friend, Master Jeff, who's one of the greatest communicators on the planet. Forbes magazine calls him the Tony Robbins of Persia. He does huge events overseas before he moved in the States. He's one of the best communicators ever, speaks at all my events. He's my best friend. I was just out there 2 weeks ago for 6-7 days at his house in Calabasas. And who else have I got on that text thread? My good friend, Vic Keller. Let me tell you a little bit about Vic. Vic is a dear friend. Vic had, let me get the terminology correct, 11 companies successfully acquired from the one and only, as he calls it, Mr. B, Warren Buffett, for an undisclosed amount of money that's around, I'll tell you, about $8 billion. How many of you guys would like to sell some companies to Warren Buffett for $8 billion? And then he served as the CEO for Berkshire Hathaway Automotives for Warren for 3 years. He took it from $8 billion a year to $11 billion a year. And then he lived out what he told Warren he would do in the thing. And now he's bought 17 companies and he chairs 9. And he's busier than hell, but he shows up at everything that we do. As a matter of fact, he texted me 30 minutes ago. He's, hey, dude, can we talk this afternoon? I'm like, sure, of course we can. So guys, I really do. And Eric and the majority of these people, Eric and Jill, they're part of our mastermind, they've met every one of these people. And I literally, guys, I get up every morning, I pinch myself. It's an unbelievable life I get to live. And people say, Ken, how do you gain favor from guys like Grant Cardone? How do you get to speak at 10X? How do you get to speak at Undercover Billionaire Boot Camp in Colorado? I was there, 2 months ago speaking there. How do you get to speak at all these conferences? How do you host your own conference? How do you get Brendan Burchard to come in? Brendan's going to be with us for a full 36 hours in Dallas. He's actually coming. I don't know if I told you this, guys, Eric, but he's actually coming to speak to the mastermind as well as the whole conference that we're doing. How do you get and how do you build? Oh, Randy Garn. I forgot Randy. Randy's on there as well. That's how I know Brendan. Randy is one of my best friends. He's a New York Times bestselling author. He sits on the board with Tony Robbins. He's best friends with Dean Graziosi, and he's business partners with Brendan in the High Performance Institute. I talk to these guys every day. These 6 guys are what I call my corner. There are 3 spheres of relationship you need in order to be, I'm talking about thrive at the highest level. Number 1 is going to be your community. For us, that's GSD. It literally is the community. I'm also a part of 10X. I was just on a big 10Xers podcast this morning. And, Grant was one of the first communities I belonged to. And that 10X community, EXP would almost be a community, to be honest with you. It's not really it is a company, but it's more of a community. I mean, I've been to shareholders. I've been to EXPCon. I'm at Build. How many of you guys are coming to Build for Brent? Am I coming to Build? I'll be there with Brent. I'll be sitting on the front row. I was on the front row last time. As a matter of fact, that's how Gary Brecka got there. That's how Dean Graziosi got there last year, was through my relationships. Randy was sitting on the front row. It's funny. I've sat on the front row last year. My best friend, Master Jeff, was on my left. It was me. It was Gary Brecka. It was Sage. It was Brent, Kathy, Randy, Dean Graziosi, and the 2 billionaire Glens were on the front row. How many of you guys know I did this. I grabbed Gary on one side and Jeff on the other side, and I looked at him. I said, I do not belong on this row. Like, it was a powerhouse front row. And guys, I get to hang around some amazing people. So communities at large groups, circle, are the 10 or 12 people you spend the most time with. Like, who is in your circle? Like, who are the 10 or 12 people that you're spending the most time with? And so here's the next part of this circle. And I do a 45-minute talk on this, and I'm going to condense this down to about 10 minutes for you guys. Do you evaluate the people that are in your circle? Like, who are the 10 or 12 people? Are you in those 10 or 12? Where do you rank in those 10 or 12? Are you in the middle, the bottom? Or are you at the top? Because I can tell you in my circle of 10 or 12, I'm somewhere in the middle. Now, when it comes to my corner, there's probably Brent actually called me for a personal matter the other night to tell me just, hey, Ken, I just want to let you know, Kathy and I love you very much. I just want to check on you. How are you doing? Brent's one of those guys in my corner. Jeff, one of my guys in my corner. Vic, one of my guys in my corner. Those guys are in my corner. The corner are the 2 to 3 guys or girls, depending on if you're a guy or a girl, that have what I call a 10,000 foot view of your life. Guys, I don't make any big decisions in my life unless I vet that or run that through my guys in my corner. Sometimes even those 6 guys, because some of those guys are in my circle, some of those guys are in my corner. Even this past year, we finished Create, and I'll give you a little story, and I'm going to share some information with you on how you can build these kind of relationships because they're a game changer. Proximity is a cheat code. I don't know if you guys ever remember the old Nintendo game Contra. This was back in, oh my gosh, probably the 90s, early 90s, mid 90s on Nintendo. And Contra was a game that you couldn't beat until, this was before the internet, until the word got around, there was a cheat code. Up, down, left, right, A, B, select, start. And you had what? Unlimited lives. And what I'm going to share with you guys today literally is a cheat code. It is a cheat code, guys, and there's no way in the world. I started GSD 3 years ago. This past year, we did 1.2 million in revenue. In January, we did almost $500,000 in revenue in 3 years. That doesn't even count my real estate stuff. This is just my events, my online community, our mastermind, and our Create conferences. Proximity is a cheat code. So I've got some amazing friends. We get through with Create this year. Eric, were you guys at Create this year in Atlanta? You and Jill were there?
Yeah, we were there.
Phenomenal. Sold the building out. It was amazing. John Maxwell gets up and makes fun of me for 20 minutes while he's doing his talk about me putting him on a timer. I was on a countdown timer, right? He goes, hey guys, I just sold my 40 millionth book this year, and my friend Ken down here has got me on a countdown timer. So we had an unbelievable 2.5 days with several hundred entrepreneurs from around the country. And we get done with Create. It was so good. I was with my therapist, who actually also spoke on Friday afternoon about relationships. And we get done, and Lauren and I are getting IVs on Sunday morning after we ate breakfast. And I was like, man, we got to do this again. We got to do this more than once a year. And this was kind of the dream and the vision God had put in my heart. And I'm like, so I'm writing it literally, guys. I'm writing it down in my planner. I'm writing this, just a download God was giving me from an amazing 2.5 days. First call I get on Monday morning is with Randy Garn. And I mentioned Randy, and Randy calls me on Monday morning. He goes, dude, that was so amazing. Have you thought about doing that more than once a year? I'm like, dude, let me tell you what I wrote down yesterday. Like, I want to do this again in July, and I want to do it somewhere, Dallas, Scottsdale area, so I can draw in the West Coast of the United States. And that afternoon, my next call after lunch at 1 p.m. was Vic Keller. And Vic said, hey, dude, that was so good this weekend. Dude, have you thought about doing another one in a different location, like 2 a year, and maybe coming to Dallas and doing one here? And I'm like, and I was on a Zoom with him, and I went, bro, it's right here. So any dream I have, anything that I'm wanting to do, because that's like insane. Like, it's my budget for this one's going to be $500,000. And it's just me. It's just me. It's all my money. I don't have any investors. It's just me. Now I've got a great team, but the money that's got to be put up is me. But before I make any decision, I always vet it through my circle or through my corner. I always run it through these guys. I tell you, people say, how do you get these kind of relationships? How do you build these kind of relationships with these level of people that you do? When I spoke at the EXP shareholders, a regional, you know how I met them? How I got there was through a relationship with Brent had set me up. How many of you guys know Kurt Shewell? You know Kurt Shewell? Phenomenal friend, super dear friend of mine. I spent a lot of time with Kurt and Mark Z and their team. I was at their Christmas party. I speak to their team. And he was like, dude, you need to be here. You need to speak, which got me what? Got me in front. I've met Michael Valdez a couple of times, which then got me an invite to come speak at shareholders. And what I shared, I even shared this at EXP, the rally in Michigan, was this. The key to building relationships with amazing people is wanting something for them, not from them. is really great leaders want something for people, not from people. And every single one of us on this call, there's 27 people. Every single one of you on this call, you've been around relationships. You know, the one thing I loved about Brent Gove, the moment I met Brent, I knew he wanted it for me as bad as he wanted it. He wanted it for me as bad as he wanted it for himself. Like, I knew Brent wasn't trying to pitch, and I didn't know Brent. I had no idea who he was. I just met him. But literally we spent 4 hours together that afternoon. I mean, I was bought in like 90 minutes. We had lunch. He started. I'm like, dude, sign me up. I'm good. As a matter of fact, Cynthia, she signed up as well while we were sitting there. And then we just spent 2 hours. But when you get around Brent Gove, you know Brent is a guy who wants something for you, not from you. He is a relational human being, not a transactional human being. And every single one of us, you know, when you get around somebody that's transactional, it's like, ugh, right? Like, you see that person walk in the room and you don't gravitate towards them, you gravitate away from them. Every single one of us, we have people who call our phone throughout the day, and we see it and we have one or two reactions. We go, oh, great. Can't wait to talk to, like when Vic texted me this morning, Jeremiah Boucher, who's in our mastermind. He has about $380 million under management. He does storage spaces all across the country. When Jeremiah, he just texts me. When he calls, I pick his phone up. Dude, what's up? When Eric or Jill call, or Brent calls, or Kathy calls, I'm excited to talk to them. Why? Because every time I have an interaction with them, I walk out of that interaction, what? A better human being. I walk out of that interaction like, dude, listen, if you hang around with Brent Gove for 5 minutes and you don't feel like you can conquer the world, something's wrong with you. Like, every time I get around Brent, I feel like, dude, nothing's impossible. And so I have literally spent the last year to year and a half building relationships with some of the most amazing people and humans on the planet. Unbelievable entrepreneurs, but as equal or greater amazing human beings as they are business leaders and business people. Why? Because I want something for people, not from people. I was on a call. I met Vic Keller last August. I met Vic last August. One of my really, really good friends who worked for John for a long time, that's how I met John Maxwell 20 years ago, is a CMO in one of his companies that he owns. They're in a board meeting, and Nate's on a FaceTime, and Vic sees me and he goes, who's that bald-headed guy? Because Vic's bald-headed, right? I tell him all the time, I'm better looking. He just has more money. He said, who's that bald-headed guy, Nate? And Nate goes, it's my best friend Ken, is what he does. And Vic goes, dude, I want to meet him. Set me a time up. So he set a 15-minute Zoom call up with Vic. Actually, it was a phone call. 15-minute phone call up with Vic back in August of last year. And we got on the call for 15 minutes, 15-minute scheduled call. It went an hour and 27 minutes. And I realized quick, man, dude, you and I are going to be tight. We're going to be close. We're literally like twins. And the last 10 minutes of the call, now this guy's a billionaire. He is a legit billionaire. He just doesn't play one on TV, and he just didn't sleep at a Holiday Inn Express last night. This cat is legit. And he goes, dude, I love what you're doing. I love the passion you have to help business leaders build confidence, gain clarity, and create community. How can I help you? I said, dude, I don't need anything from you, Vic. I said, I'm good, man. Just you and I building this relationship the way we're building it. I don't need anything. He goes, dude, but seriously, man, how can I help you? I want to help you. What can I do? I said, dude, I don't need anything from you, Vic. Now, guys, think about it. If you're in that position, or you're there and you're having this conversation that goes 15 minutes with a guy who can literally invest or stroke a check and change your entire life. Could have changed my entire life. I said, Vic, I don't need anything, man. He asked me 6 times in the last 10 minutes of the call, dude, I want to help you. What can I do? You know what I said at the very end? I said, dude, listen, I don't need anything, Vic. But I tell you what, you want to do something? I know what you're wanting to do in this next season, in this next phase of your life. I've got some really good friends like Randy Garn, who's on the board with Tony Robbins, and he's friends with Dean, and him and Brendan are doing. He's a New York Times bestselling author. I know some of the things you're wanting to do. You need to come to my mastermind. November the 1st, this is where I met Eric and Jill. This is where they came. You need to come to my mastermind, and you need to meet some of the people that I've got there. I think they can help you do what you want to do. And the first question he asked me, he goes, how much is your mastermind? He goes, it's not like $399 for the week is. I said, no. It's a $40,000 investment, or $50K a year for a couple. It's not the investment steep because the people that we bring in the room, I want serious people. And he goes, I'll give you 1 day. He said, I'll give you 1 day. I said, great. And so this was in August. In November, Eric, if you guys remember this, Monday was Halloween, it was the 31st. So he flies in his jet into Scottsdale on Monday. He lands, he gets up I let him speak. He spoke on Tuesday morning right before lunch, was his first session. And he says, guys, I just want to let you know, he goes, he shares a little bit of that story. And he goes, I just came from Omaha. Well, I knew this, but the rest of the crowd didn't. He goes, I just came from Omaha. He goes, I had dinner with Mr. B on Sunday. He's at Warren Buffett's house on Sunday. He's flying on his jet to my place on Monday. And not only did he stay one day, but he stayed the entire time. Not only did he stay the entire time, but every event I do, Vic's there the entire time. Even in Puerto Rico, when we did our mastermind at Elk and Key Store. And Vic gets up, and this is what he says. I'm sitting in my chair, I have no idea what he's going to talk about. He goes, Ken, I need your videographers to turn your video cameras off. Okay. I said, guys, turn your cameras off. He goes, I need everybody in the room. I need you to lay your iPhones flat down on the table. You can't record anything I'm about to tell you. I'm like, well, this ought to be great. And he goes, I want to tell you what I've learned from Mr. Buffett in the last 7 years. And you can ask Eric and Jill, you could have heard a pin. And I've got guys in that room that are worth $200, $300, $400 million. Guys that are making $1 million a month. I'm talking about a very high level, successful room of entrepreneurs. And you could have heard a pin drop for 45 minutes as he sat there and he talked about all the things that he learned from Warren Buffett through the acquisition and then being his CEO. And people are like, Ken, how in the world do you get these kind of guys in the room? When we do this conference in Dallas, I mean, does anybody know who John Gordon is? Give me a thumbs up. You know who John Gordon is? New York Times bestselling author. Him and Catherine, John's the energy bus. He's got books on books on books. He coaches everybody. Miami Heat. He was actually, I'm in a mastermind with Erwin McManus. If you guys know Erwin, who's a dear friend. And I'm in a mastermind of ridiculously high level guys. And I'm sitting there, John and I are having a conversation. It was right after Miami had gotten beat by Boston, I think in game 5, or maybe that game went 7 games, maybe in game 6. They just got beat by Boston. Spoelstra is texting him on the phone. And John's texting him back and he goes, listen, I watched the game. You guys were in Miami and you came out and you were the hunted. If you want to win this game 7, you got to go to Boston. You got to go to the Garden and you got to be the hunter. And what did Miami do? They beat the brakes off of Boston in game 7. I'm standing here and he's talking to Eric Spoelstra. Like I'm talking about very high level guys who are coming. John's not even speaking. He's just coming to spend time and just to hang out. How do you do that, Ken? How do you gather champions? You do it, and you can do the same thing in your life. You can do it with your team. You can do it with your relationships, your community circle corner, all by becoming a person that wants something for people, not from people. And how do you do that? There's 3 things you do. And I've been telling my kids this for my oldest is 27. I've just found out she's pregnant and having a baby. She just told me this morning, come on, somebody. And, but I've been telling her since she was 5 years old going to kindergarten. Listen, servant leaders do 3 things. They put other people's needs before their own. They do things right the first time, and they do things without being asked. And I'm going to tell you, if you'll live a life and you will do those 3 things, and you'll, because real estate can be, it's easy to slip into transaction. If you'll learn to love and take care of the people you serve, if you'll learn that they're there, like, you know, when somebody has a real estate transaction, I don't care if it's a $200,000. Yes, I'll repeat it. I don't care if it's a $200,000 deal or a $2.2 million deal. For a lot of families, that's the biggest thing that they ever do. And for us, we do it all day long. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Step into their shoes. When you serve people, you don't look at it from your perspective. You change perspective and you see the entire situation and you see the entire process that you're helping them either buy or sell real estate. You're looking at it through their lens and through their eyes and not your own. So 3 things servant leaders do. I'll repeat that. Number 1, they put other people's needs before their own. Number 2, they do things without being asked. And this sounds elementary, and it was, because I told my kids this. I've got 4 daughters. I started when my oldest was in kindergarten, and I worked it all the way through. Put other people's needs before their own, do things right the first time, and do things without being asked. I mean, you would think that would be super simple. And my daughter, when she's 27 now, she was in college in Birmingham. She got her second job. She was working at a brand new Chick-fil-A, and she just kept getting promoted. One day, she was the front-end kitchen manager at this brand new Chick-fil-A. And you know how Chick-fil-A's are, guys. Listen, they're here in the South in Birmingham and Atlanta, they're about every 100 yards. If you throw a rock, you hit about 5 of them. They're everywhere. And listen, if you're going to heaven with me, the Chick-fil-A will be in heaven because it's the greatest chicken ever, right? So she keeps getting promoted. The owner operator comes in one day and goes, Holly, she's like 19 years old. He goes, how are you getting this team to do everything you asked them to do? And she sends me a picture. And she sends me a picture of, in Chick-fil-A where they have the stainless steel where they slide the nuggets and the waffle fries and the stuff down. On that stainless steel was written 3 characteristics. It is God's chicken. 3 characteristics of a servant leader. And when that owner operator asked, he owns 2 stores, how are you doing this? She goes, it's easy. I live by these 3 characteristics my dad taught me since I was in kindergarten. You want to talk about wanting something for people, not from people? When you serve people at a high level, when you really are relational and you're not transactional, guys, I'm telling you, it'll change your life. It'll change your business. It'll change your relationships. It'll change your friendships. It will change everything about you. Great leaders want something for people, not from people. And if there's one message I could literally trumpet over and over and over and over, it would be that one. And it's made a difference. It's made a profound impact in my life. And I literally have some of the greatest friends on the planet. And it's because I'll share this with you guys, and I'll open it up. Maybe I don't know how much time we got. Maybe a little discussion. I'm in Erwin McManus's mastermind. If you guys know Erwin, he's the greatest storyteller I've ever been around ever. He's phenomenal. And I'm in Erwin's mastermind, and it's loaded. How many of you guys know Jamie Kern-Lima? Jamie's husband, Paulo's in there with us. I think we've got a couple, 2 or 3 billionaires in there. Joel Marion, who runs the $100 million mastermind with Dan Fleischman. Kent Clothier, who runs the boardroom masterminds in it. Tom Patterson, who's the CEO of Tommy John Underwear Clothes. Tom's in there with us. I mean, it is loaded. We get done with the first break on the first day. John Gordon's in there with us. And Ben Newman, if you guys know who Ben is, he's one of the top sports psychologists and sports coaches in the world. He was with Alabama and Nick Saban for the last 5 years. And we're sitting there, and Erwin pulls me aside, and he goes, dude, how do you think the first half of the day went? I said, dude, it went phenomenal. Your DNA, you've gathered a group of men that have your same DNA. They're servant leaders, and they love people. And it's not hard to have something amazing when you attract who you are. And I've heard John Maxwell say this for 20 plus years. You don't reproduce what you know, you reproduce who you are. So if you're trying to build a team, you're gonna attract and build the people that look just like you. I don't care if it's in business, I don't care if it's in relationships, I don't care if it's whatever level of relationships. You don't reproduce what you know, you reproduce who you are. And if you will live a life committed to wanting something for people, not from people, then you'll grab those 3 characteristics of a servant leader and live those out. Guys, I want to say the real estate side, it's easy. The real estate's it's I don't care up economy, down economy. I don't care where you're at. It transcends everything. And you'll make more money than you ever know what to do with. So, Chris, I hope that helped, man. I don't know if we got time for Q&A or if anybody's got questions.
Yeah. Actually, we do. We got about 15 minutes. So if people want to jump in, I love your views on all this. So I love the leadership piece. That's my thing. Leadership is key to everything. And that's, I think, what's beautiful about EXP is that we're leaders building other leaders. And that's what makes us great. Benita, you said, what is the third character? Oh, what are the third characteristics? She asked again.
Put other people's needs before your own.
Mm-hmm.
Do things right the first time, and do things without being asked.
Yeah. Great.
That's it, man. I mean, my kids were 5th grade. So here's another thing I did for those of you guys have young kids that want to steal that. Every day when I picked them up, I own my mortgage company, so I usually drop them off at school and pick them up. Every day when I picked them up, they would have an example of how they were a servant leader that day. Hey, Daddy, we came in from recess. It was hot. Johnny wanted water. I let him go in front of me. Hey, Dad, Miss Green, her trash can needed taken out. I didn't wait for her to ask. I just took it out. They would give me an example every single day of how they were a servant leader that day at school. It's a game changer. And when your kids see you live that out, and your team sees you live that out, and that's really who you are, it is an absolute game changer for you to be able to do that.
Yeah, I love it. Well, as Brent always says, speed of leader determines the pace of the pack, right? So as you said, that's examples, and people emulate. I learned as kids, I have kids of my own too, they're now grown, but kids never really listen to you. They just watch you. I think most people watch you, and they watch what you do. So you behave in a certain way, you act a certain way, you show up in a certain way, your kids will start to emulate those qualities, whether you realize it or not. You're gonna like
Yeah.
wonder, where did you learn that from? Oh, I saw you doing it, Dad.
Mhm.
Crap. So yeah,
1,000%, Chris. Listen, if you say something and you don't do it,
yeah.
they'll intentionally not do what you tell them they're supposed to do because they're like, well, you're not doing it. Why should I do it? It literally has an adverse effect when you do that, when you do it that way.
And I think the same goes for attracting people and talent in your team, right? Buyers, agents, listing specialists, or just your environment period. That's what we're trying to create here. Obviously, every week I try to bring value. Thanks, Ken. I appreciate that. Open it up. Everybody got questions, or maybe Eric and Jill want to share some of your stuff too that you've got from some of these things that you went to, these masterminds. You've attended them. So I don't know. You may want to add it, or feel free. Unmute your mic and go for it. You're still muted, Jill, I think.
All right. So, hi, everybody. So I just real quick, how I met Ken, how Eric and I met Ken was at Build last year. We just kind of ran into each other after, I don't know, like the second or third day. And I'm just getting some feedback. So make a long story short, we just kind of bumped into each other at the bar and we just chatted. And he asked if we were going to the event that night. And I said, of course we are. I had no idea what he was talking about, but I'm like, well, if this guy's going, then I'm going. I need to know what this is, what's happening. So we found out that there was an event going on. Now, it was our first EXP event that we've ever been to. I didn't even know anything about EXP. We were brand new. And I found out later on that it was a special like platinum ticket that you had to buy, or the level up. We were like gold ticket members. But anyway, I was destined to go to this party. So Eric and I and another one of our people on Team Freedom, I don't know if he's on here, Jeff Smith was with us too. And I'm literally wearing like a $12 t-shirt that I've been wearing all day long and a pair of shorts. Had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. We get in the tram, we go over to this party, and the security guard would not let us in. She obviously saw us, and they're like, everybody else is wearing sequins and long gowns, and everyone's dressed up really nice. And she says, oh no, you have to be a platinum member. And I'm like, oh, that sucks. So I texted Ken. He'd given me his number a couple hours earlier. And he said, Ken, we're here at the party, but we can't get in. Didn't realize that we had to be a platinum member. So we're waiting for the tram to get back. He's like, oh, that's too bad. I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow. About 3 minutes later, he says, don't go anywhere. I'm coming out. He goes and grabs us, brings us in, has this big argument with the security lady that did not want to let us into the party because this was Brent's private party. And at that point, I've never met Brent in person. I've never met any of these people in person. Ken's fighting with the security lady. She was such a Karen. And she says, you can't just let these people into the party. He goes, hell yeah, I can. Do you know who I am? I'm getting these people in. So he actually took out his credit card. He paid for me and Eric and Jeff to get into this private party. We go in there and all of the top people from EXP are in this event. The Spasmatics were playing. The band was amazing. The drinks were flowing. It was the coolest party ever. We danced all night, had such a great time. Ken introduced us to his buddies. And that night changed our lives. We got in a room with people that were bigger than us, that thought differently than we did. And from then on, we built this relationship with Ken, and he said, you guys have to come to my event in November. And we're like, no, we can't afford it. As you heard, it's quite expensive, but he just gave us kind of like a less expensive pass to check it out. And we're like, I don't know why we met this guy, but something is drawing us to this group. And to be completely honest, at that point, I had no faith in anything. I think I probably was like an atheist. I don't even know. Like, religion was not part of my world. And I had a lot of doubts about my ability in the business and what I can do in this life. And we went to that event, that mastermind, and it literally changed our lives. I think I cried like 20 times in 4 days because it was so emotional, and the people we met, and so he was talking about this guy, Vic Keller, comes to the event, and there are tabletops of 6 people, like round tables with 6 people fit there. Eric and I are at this table. This guy, Vic Keller, sits down right at the table with us. I have no idea who he is. And then before I know it, he's up on stage and he's talking about how he's built his businesses strictly through love, and how he talked about how rich is loud and wealthy is quiet. That was so good. I mean, you see these people walking around with their Louis Vuittons and they're driving Lamborghinis, and this guy says, no, that's not what you want to do. It's all about loving and giving, and that's how you build friendships and relationships with people that you want to be like. So anyway, I could talk forever about Ken, but his group is amazing. And that life change, that moment, that was last November, has changed our lives. We now moved to Hawaii, which I never thought would ever be a possibility for us. And we have this amazing team, and we're part of this group. And in my head, there's nothing that I cannot accomplish. And I'm so grateful for Ken and introducing us to the people that he did. So get into rooms with people that are bigger than you and that you look up to and you want to be like, because they will take you in with open arms, because if they are loving and kind and they're true leaders, they want to see you succeed. They don't want to hold you back. So anyway, gosh. That's what I have to say.
There's a huge limiting belief to this real quick. Now, just because I think people talk about it's kind of cliche, right? You know, your proximity is power. You got to be you can't be the smartest guy in the room. I want to be the kind of the dumbest guy in the room. I want to reach the levels. But most people will honestly feel like that's not even possible to reach. Like if we hear your story, Ken, it's like, oh yeah, all these great guys, cool. But you probably did something. What is the odds that I get to have that opportunity? How am I going to trip over that opportunity? And the truth is, opportunity is available to all of us if we're willing to look outside our limiting beliefs and that drunk monkey that we can't have this or we can't have that. And Jill and Eric, perfect. I mean, you guys just like tripped over this opportunity. I remember last year when we were at Build, and I texted you guys like, oh yeah, remember this guy Ken at the bar, because we were doing something. I think we were all doing dinner that night. And you're like, we're not going to make dinner because we're going to go to this party. And so look what it's kind of segued into. And yes, you guys have made these great, like, massive decisions, like uprooting yourself and moving to an island 5,000 miles away. Nobody just does that. But
well, Chris, let me say this. And what happens is, and the first time I met Grant, I shared this on a podcast earlier today. The first time I met Grant asked me in October of 2019, what are you here for? And I said, Grant, I'm here to blow the lid off my mindset of what's a lot of money. And it's not just always about finances, but for Eric and Jill, I think they put themselves in a room with people that think so much bigger than they did, that when that idea or that dream came alive in their heart, they went, oh, we can do this. This is possible. Because you're in a room of possibility. Like you're literally in a room of possibility. There's nobody in that room that doesn't think they can do whatever it is God puts in their heart. And you've got to surround yourself with those people. And when you do, it is mind-blowing. The things that we were just on a call, I guess, with Eric a couple of days ago, maybe last week, whatever it was. We were on a call and they're just like, man, we did it. We moved to Hawaii, did this, we did this, and we did, and I'm like, and literally it's why I do what I do. So people like Jill and Eric can go, man, here's a dream. And we would have never done this before had we not been in an environment and around people. And listen, you don't have to necessarily pay to $40K to be in a mastermind or $50K to do that. You can get in environments, EXPCon, Build. I don't know what Build's ticket. I mean, my ticket to my events, general admission is like $400. Get in the room, get around these people. Like, one of the reasons I had been so ridiculously, I'm not going to say good is probably the bad word to use, but I have escalated and elevated in from refereeing college basketball to umpiring college baseball to doing ministry, to doing real estate, to doing what I do now is because in every one of those things, when I started refereeing high school basketball in 1992, I stepped on the floor with a girl named Sally Bell. Sally is the most decorated women's official in the history of the world. She worked 13 Final Fours. She was the woman chosen for the Olympics in '96. She just retired about 2 years ago, and she was a D1, 7 D1 conference. She was a coordinator for 7 D1 conferences. She's the number one women's official ever. And literally, I step on the floor, and she's my clinician. And I am listening to everything she's got. I'll never forget one time she called and she goes, "Hey, Jack," her husband's an attorney where I, the town I grew up with in Georgia. She goes, "Jack's gone. I've got this shipper road to move. You think you can get some guys?" You better believe I can. I got 2 or 3 of my friends. I paid my friends to go help me move this giant shipper road for Sally Bell. You know why? And she never did pay off on this deal, but I said, "I'll do it, but you got to referee a high school game with me," because I wasn't doing college at the time yet. But I learned, anything I could do to be around her. Marvin Hudson, he's a big league crew chief, now umpire. He started as a big league crew chief last year. He's been in the big leagues for 24 years. Marvin's been a friend of mine for 30. He's one of the guys that taught me how to umpire, and which is why I rose up the ranks as fast as I did. The only reason I am where I am today is because of the people I surround myself with. And when you surround yourself with guys like Brent Gove and guys like Randy Garn and Gary Brecka and Vic Keller, you can't not help but be successful. You can't not help but live a significant life and make an impact in everybody that is around you. It is impossible to get in the room. It's like even on this call with Chris, it's impossible to. You guys said you had Krista on this call?
Yeah, Krista is last week. Make sure.
Are you kidding me? She's doing like $800K a month in sales on her online stuff. She's like one of the top people in the country right now. You want to learn how to do a funnel and do the stuff and attraction. She's one of the top people. Go, super good friend of mine. Like I spoke right behind Go. I got up at the EXP rally in Detroit and I said, "Hey guys, my name's Ken Joslin. I'm a less sexy version of this girl that just left the stage just a minute ago." And then everybody was great because Go got up and gave me a standing ovation. But when you get around those people, guys, you cannot help but be successful. All you have to do is take the information that they're giving you and put it into practice. And when you do that, it is amazing. It is amazing the things that will start coming to fruition in your life.
I love it. Which I want to segue and piggyback on top of that, which is the reason why it's powerfully important for you guys to attend these events. Things like Build, Shareholders, EXP Convention is a time for you to get immersed, to mesh, to rub elbows, to have dinner and lunch and coffees with these people. Like Ken says, it's impossible not to rise to their level. If you don't, you probably need to go get your pulse checked. But if you're around that proximity, it will happen. They say you hang on the barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut. That's how it rolls. That's how life is. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, just, got about 3 minutes, but I'm telling you right now, hopefully everybody can look at that. July 10th through 12th is Build, San Antonio, Texas. I would strongly suggest to be there. If you're saying is it with value? Absolutely. Is your future on the hold for that? Absolutely. It could be anything potentially you're one relationship away from changing your life. Always.
Chris, can I say something really quick?
Yep.
The reason a year and a half ago after my first Create conference, I called off the 5 guys that are on my text plus Vic. I didn't know Vic at the time. I said, my word this year is intentionality. And I want to be intentional in our relationship. I'm going to invest my time, my talent, and my treasure in our relationship. My time. I've been to Puerto Rico twice with Brent and Kathy. I've been to Salt Lake City with Randy numerous times. I've been to Calabasas outside of LA with Jeff numerous times. Gary Brecka, I've traveled with Gary. I've been to Miami numerous times. Nashville for Brian numerous times. My time. I'm going to invest my time coming to you. My talent. What can I do to help your dream come to pass? It's exactly what I told every one of them. And the last one is treasure. I was on the phone with Brent Gove and I said, dude, this is what I would love for our relationship to look like. I'm going to invest my time, talent, and treasure. I said, what's the Build website? He goes, Build 22. I said, how much is the front row seat? And he told me, and I said, I bought it while I was on the phone with Brent. I literally bought it on the spot. I didn't care what it cost. This year when it went on sale, I bought 2 front row seats, the first thing, as soon as they happened. Guess what? Literally, guys, I don't know if any of you guys were at Shareholders in Brent's condo this year, the 2 days. He talked about my event before he even talked about his own event. That doesn't happen. Like, who does that? Like literally time, talent, and treasure. You want to get around the guys that you need to get around, you invest your time, talent, and treasure in them. And I promise you, they will give you the time you need to go from average or even above being successful to just being ridiculously blessed.
I love it. Thank you so much. Powerful. Thank you, Ken, for coming on this call for us. I know you're a busy guy too. Eric and Jill, thank you for lining this up. I appreciate it. Hope it's a value to you guys. And I look forward to now everybody can look to trying to aspire to be in these rooms. Go find your room. Go find your crew, your tribe. Your tribe is your vibe. I love it. Awesome. Well, hopefully everybody see you guys next week. Again, Thursday, the EXP Explained. Every Thursday, you guys. So I put that on as well. So, but again, till next week, we'll follow you on Instagram. There we go, at Ken Joslin. Everybody, appreciate you getting your time, energy, and effort too. You poured into us. You definitely did. I thank you so much, Ken, for your time.
You're welcome, buddy.
Awesome. Y'all have an amazing week. Go out and crush it. I love you all tremendously. And I will see you all next week. Love you guys.